How does America's favorite boy next door, who spoon-fed the suburbs their first taste of rock and roll, wind up coughing in a smoke-filled cockpit on New Year's Eve, counting the seconds to impact? For 4 decades, the industry blamed bad luck, a creaky heater, maybe even rockstar excess. But newly unsealed maintenance logs, a co-pilot's final confession, and witness tapes finally crack the case. The answer isn't a whodunit twist. It's a slow-motion chain of negligence that will make you furious. By the last minute of this story, you'll never hear Garden Party the same way again. Spotlight from the cradle. Eric "Ricky" Nelson didn't stumble into fame. He was born inside it. 6 months old, still burping formula, when radio listeners first heard his giggle on the Red Skelton Show. By 8, he was a weekly fixture on The Adventures of Ozzie and Harriet, a sitcom so real, it used the actual Nelson home as its set. Neighbors slowed their cars just to peek at the white picket facade. Sponsors shipped free Schwinn bikes. Viewers mailed birthday cakes. On breaks between takes, Ricky huddled near studio engineer Doc Gordon, mesmerized by stacks of 78 RPM records. Gordon slipped him forbidden fruit, Roy Orbison, Little Richard, early Elvis, records Harriet dismissed as jungle noise. The kid memorized every lick, then asked the prop man to restring an old TV guitar so he could phantom strum along. Child star scripts rarely end well, and Ricky knew it. "Millions of people watch me lose my baby teeth," he quipped to Look magazine. "I just hope they stay tuned when I start singing." He would soon test that loyalty with a stunt that turned primetime television into the biggest record store in America. But first, a teenage dare behind his parents' backs would change pop culture forever. Teen idol to rock trailblazer. Spring 1957. Ricky's 17, crushing on a high school cheerleader. To impress her, he books 30 studio minutes at Imperial Records and cuts a rushed cover of Fats Domino's I'm Walkin'. Cost: $276 on his dad's Diners Club card. Ozzie likes the swagger and slips the track into that Thursday's episode without telling the network. Phone banks melt. Imperial presses 1 million singles in 7 days, shattering the label's previous best by tenfold. Ozzie sees an empire. Every Thursday, the sitcom ends with Ricky crooning a fresh tune. Bebop Baby, Stood Up, Poor Little Fool. Viewers sprint to Woolworth's next morning. In 3 years, he tallies 30 top 40 hits, more than Elvis in the identical stretch. He performs Travelin' Man in a globe-trotting montage that historians later call the first ever music video. Dad's grown. Daughter's male lipstick-smeared fan letters. The term teen idol leaps from tabloid slang to Merriam-Webster and lands right next to Ricky's photo. Yet fame ages faster than hairstyles. Surf rock is bubbling in California. Berry Gordy is assembling Motown in Detroit. Across the Atlantic, for scruffy Liverpudlians are rehearsing in a damp club called The Cavern. Ricky can chase trends or invent his own lane. The night Madison Square Garden booed him would decide everything. Garden Party and the country rock pivot. October 15th, 1971. Garden sold out. Ricky struts on stage wearing paisley, bell-bottoms, and shoulder-length hair light years from his crew-cut TV days. He kicks off with a Stones cover, figuring the crowd's ready to evolve with him. Wrong call. They want Hello Mary Lou. A hail of booze rains down. Humiliated, he exits mid-set. On the flight home, still stinging, he scribbles lyrics on an airsick bag. You can't please everyone, so you got to please yourself. The single, Garden Party, drops in 72, hits number 6, and bankrolls the Stone Canyon Band, blending California steel guitar with rock backbeats. Critics who'd branded him bubblegum plastic now salute him as a pioneer. Bernie Leadon of the fledgling Eagles later says, "Rick mapped the road we walked." Artistically, the reboot works. Financially, he's hemorrhaging. IRS audits, a chain of borrowed Cadillacs, and an entourage the size of a college football lineup chew through royalties. To stay solvent, Ricky books 200 dates a year, sleeping on bar-stained Holiday and carpets while his old TV reruns air in syndication. Hollywood dangles a glittery escape. Movies, guest spots, residual checks. But those opportunities reveal a new tug-of-war between spotlight and personal life. Silver screen swagger. Howard Hawks needs fresh blood for the Western Rio Bravo and gambles on Ricky. John Wayne scoffs until rehearsal. After take 5, Wayne slaps the kid's shoulder. You draw faster than half of Dodge City. The film grosses $5.5 million, mid-century blockbuster money, and Ricky's fan base widens beyond jukebox teens. Hollywood offers keep pouring. The wackiest ship in the Army, guest stints on General Electric Theater, a cameo in the Over the Hill Gang. But every day on set is a day off the tour, and tour receipts pay the tax man. Ricky starts turning down scripts, roles that later launch Robert Redford and Steve McQueen. In 1965, he gambles one last time on Love and Kisses, written by Ozzy. The reviews are kind, but the box office flops, convincing him that acting gigs aren't the miracle fix he needs. Backstage, another drama is brewing, a love story Harriet approves of, at least on the surface. Fairy tale love. In the cracks, Harriet Nelson runs her household like a velvet-gloved general. If a girlfriend shows too much leg or asks for an extra martini, the studio gate won't let her back in. Enter Kristen Harmon, raven-haired daughter of Heisman hero Tom Harmon and 1940s starlet Elise Knox. The families vacation together in Palm Springs. Photographers smell a gold mine. On April 20th, 1963, ABC interrupts its primetime schedule to air wedding footage. Viewers swoon, sponsors cheer. The newlyweds buy a Hollywood Hills Spanish Revival mansion with floor-to-ceiling glass and zero privacy. For photogenic kids follow Tracy, musical twins Gunnar and Matthew, and baby Sam. Publicly, it's a sitcom spin-off come to life. Privately, fault lines widen. Kristen battles postpartum depression and pills. Ricky copes with late-night gigs, creeping debt, and a craving for simpler days. Arguments escalate from slammed doors to thrown perfume bottles. By 1980, Kristen files separation papers. Ricky riposts with claims of erratic behavior. Their divorce finalizes December 1982 with $1 million settlement he can barely cover. A year later, Kristen enters rehab. Her brother Mark Harmon sues for temporary custody of Sam, citing unsafe conditions. The tabloids feast. Ricky's emotional anchor becomes tour manager turned partner Helen Blair, a calm presence who books shows, balances budgets, and, fatefully, vets charter planes. Fade out and comeback grind. Radio programmers label Ricky nostalgia. Big promoters lowball him. To stay afloat, he'll play anywhere with a power outlet. VFW halls, state fairs, roller rink grand openings. Some nights he performs 3 50-minute sets, changing shirts in a broom closet to fake freshness. He reworks classics, sneaks in new tracks from his self-financed album Playing to Win, and prays for a break that never lands. Rumors seep through the grapevine. Ricky's free basing, Ricky flies loaded. Ricky's band carries enough contraband to stock a pharmacy. Reality, friends see him sip cores and knock back aspirin. A 1985 insurance medical shows him fit, low blood pressure, zero narcotics. But rumors stick, and major promoters stay wary. Travel is the killer. Commercial tickets eat profit. So he buys a 1944 Douglas DC-3 tail number N 711Y, once owned by the DuPont family, later by Jerry Lee Lewis. Fans dub it the Travelin' Man Express. Mechanics roll eyes. The plane's older than rock and roll itself. In May 1985, he spends $140,000 on refurbishing leather seats, but the backbone, engines, heater, escapes real overhaul. Maintenance logs tally 9 heater write-ups in 7 months. Each time the part is backordered or jury-rigged. December 1985, last week of the year, brings a lifesaver, a New Year's Eve booking in Dallas worth $30,000. Promoter covers fuel if Ricky supplies the plane. Helen signs off. The band groans, Flying Relic is drafty in winter, but the paycheck is oxygen. They pencil in a short hop from Gunnersville, Alabama, to Texas with a fuel stop in Texarkana. An hour into that hop, the cockpit will turn into a smoker's lounge from hell. The flight that should never have taken off. December 31st, 1985, 2 p.m., Gunnersville Airport. Frost on the wings, coffee breath in the cabin. Pilots Brad Rank and Ken Ferguson scan a clipboard scribbled with cabin heater intermittent. Rank shrugs, he's flown worse. 20 minutes after wheels up, Rank toggles the heater. It sputters, then bangs. A moment of warmth, then oily smoke seeps up the aisle. Guitarist Bobby Neal jokes, somebody burned the popcorn? The joke dies when smoke thickens. Ken radios Memphis Center, we'd like to divert, heater problem, smell of smoke. Controllers vector them toward Texarkana, but smoke pours faster than the Pratt and Whitney engines can pull them forward. Rank dives to bleed altitude, hunting a clearing. Passengers yank off jackets, wrap scarves over mouths. Helen fumbles seatbelt latches looking for extinguishers that don't exist. Oxygen starvation sets in. Bandmates slump. 5:14 p.m. near DeKalb, Texas. The DC-3 clips a power line, skids belly first through a cow pasture, shears a utility pole, and barrels into a stand of pecan trees. Impact rips the cockpit from the cabin, gifting the pilots a crawlspace escape. In a scene firefighters later call eerily silent, Ricky, Helen, and 5 musicians never emerge. Autopsy reports conclude they lost consciousness from carbon monoxide inhalation before touchdown. By sunrise, rumors spark. Coke pipe in the wreckage? Not true, authorities find only melted plastic seat trim. Sabotage by jealous rivals? Zero evidence. The NTSB's preliminary line, in-flight fire, undetermined origin, does nothing to cool speculation. Cover-up, negligence, and final verdict. 1986 to 1987. Investigators question the pilots in hospital beds. Ken Ferguson insists he'd logged heater problems for months. Maintenance shops produce receipts, patchwork fix after patchwork fix. Lawyers circle. Century Equipment Company, listed aircraft owner of record, files for bankruptcy within weeks, shielding assets. Families settle out of court. The story risks fading, but aviation geeks keep digging. In 2024, the podcast Flight Safety Detectives unearths an annex file mislabeled Administrative Miscellaneous. Inside, photos of heater coils charred black, wiring wrapped with household tape, and an FAA memo, persistent odor of fumes, heater requires immediate replacement. Worst of all is a typed addendum signed by the chief mechanic. Owner declined full overhaul, cost prohibitive, opted for interim repair. They knew. Months later, a hospice nurse posts an audio clip, Ken Ferguson's final interview. His voice rasps, that heater was a torch. We begged them to ground her. The clip goes viral. Mainstream outlets finally revise the drug-rumored narrative. Ricky didn't fall to excess. He fell to penny-pinching neglect. The Ricky Nelson mystery is solved, and the truth stings harder than any tabloid headline. America's clean-cut pioneer didn't perish chasing a high. He perished because someone saved a few bucks on parts older than his first hit single. Yet the music endures. Travelin' Man still breezes from convertibles, Garden Party still preaches authenticity, and Gooner and Matthew pack theaters performing their dad's catalog note perfect. So the next time that chorus floats by, you can't please everyone. So you've got to please yourself, remember why he wrote it, remember the corners cut on N, 7-Eleven why, and remember a final lesson no entertainer should ever have to teach. Sometimes your legacy depends on the line item someone erases from a maintenance budget.